There has been a lot of different displays of desperation among the potential VP picks for Joe Biden. And one of the more recent examples has to do with Elizabeth Warren. Now, there was an interesting piece published in Politico that didn't really have any news in it. For anyone who's been following politics, following this Democratic primary, you would know that Elizabeth Warren had pivoted away from Medicare for all or a single payer healthcare model pretty late last year. But Politico publishes this piece as if this is a new way of pivoting for Elizabeth Warren, and that's not necessarily the case. Now, during a talk with some of the students at the University of Chicago, here's what she had to say about Medicare for all and what makes more sense moving forward.
Medicare for all, do you think there'll be more of a receptivity to some sort of single payer healthcare system or some sort of hybrid but universal system?
I think there'll be a lot of receptivity. Look, I argued for Medicare for all. I think ultimately getting us to a single payer, I think it's what makes sense. But the question is, how are we going to get there in a way that brings people in and people feel comfortable with it? I think right now people want to see improvements in our healthcare system. And that means strengthening the Affordable Care Act. We should be doing that anyway. That should be easy. We should be doing it right now.
So she had wavered on Medicare for all, again, like in November of last year, when she said that she would, if she gets elected, she would pass Medicare for all in 2 phases with a public option in phase 1. And then toward the end of her first term, that's when she would start fighting toward a single payer healthcare system. At that point, for me at least, it became abundantly clear that she had no intention to fight for Medicare for all. But now this is being framed as, oh, Elizabeth Warren is pivoting away from Medicare for all because she wants to appeal to Biden so she can be chosen as his VP pick. So, Cenk, what do you make of this?
Go get him. Love it. I agree with her. As you can tell, Anna does not. Nope. So let me explain. Do I want to do Medicare for all more than anything? Absolutely, positively. Do I think that Elizabeth Warren wants to do Medicare for all? Yes, I do. We can disagree about that. That's okay. Do I think it's important for Elizabeth Warren to be picked as a vice president? Absolutely. She is by far the most progressive candidate out there possible. Joe Biden is going to be 78 years old when he's sworn in. I don't want to jinx it if he's sworn in. And there's been a lot of talk about him only serving 1 term. Nothing is more important than who his VP is. And I will take the second most progressive senator. And if you say no, I caught feelings. I still have those feelings. And that's going to decide that make me choose someone less progressive than her. That's, to me, I can't countenance that. I'm practical. And then on Medicare for all, is this a way of getting onto the VP ticket? If it is, then I think it's smart politics. And I don't think it actually changes her real opinion on it.
So, look, I don't know what's in her mind or her heart. So while I'm suspicious of her statements regarding wanting Medicare for all, I don't know, and I'll admit that. But what I will say is that the biggest problem with Elizabeth Warren from the beginning, okay, and I mean even as far back as when she did the whole Native American DNA test, is that she has terrible political instincts. And this play makes it abundantly clear, or actually just reinforces that. What I think we need to have a discussion about is the decision that the Biden campaign has made moving forward. And their decision has not been to appeal to progressive voters. Their decision has been to appeal not only to corporate donors, that's been a given, okay, that's been clear, but to appeal to never Trump Republicans who obviously prefer Biden over any other Democrat who ran during the primaries. And they're going to help Biden as much as they can because they hate Trump and they want to get Trump out and they're willing to work with Biden. So I'm talking about the Bill Kristols of the world. I'm talking about Kellyanne Conway's husband, George Conway. I'm talking about David Frum. The very people who were actually pretty active during the Bush administration, very supportive of the Bush administration, but just cannot stand Donald Trump. And so if you look at how the Biden campaign is operating, they have gone to great lengths to, really appeal to those people to the right of, centrist Democrats. And what have they done for progressive voters? The only thing that I've seen from the Biden camp and Biden supporters is nonstop vilification and antagonistic language toward Bernie supporters. And so I bring that up because when you consider the values of establishment or centrist Democrats, corporate Democrats, you need to have your principles, because if you are a progressive who's willing to waver or be malleable and you think, oh, maybe my theory of change will work. Maybe if I'm a little malleable, I'll get in there and then I can change things from the inside. It's not going to happen. She's not going to be chosen as the VP pick. Right now, Joe Biden is actually vetting Amy Klobuchar. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And it's because Amy Klobuchar is more appealing to the never Trumpers. She's more appealing to the people in the middle of the country who might lean conservative, but they can't stand Donald Trump. This is the political calculation that the Biden camp has made. And the fact that Elizabeth Warren hasn't realized that and is willing to waver on her principles and her beliefs, I think is incredibly sad. No. That's where I'm coming from.
So I think half of what you're saying is true, but I think the other half is really important. Did Biden go towards the mainstream and establishment during the primary? Yes. By the way, did it work? Yes. He won because of that. And so that sucks for us, and it's terrible, but it's a reality. But on the other hand, when normally you go to a general election, the Democratic candidate swings to the right. But in this case, Biden has done the opposite. Instead of going more establishment, he has swung to the left. He did a task force that has indisputably progressive people on it, not just AOC, but Stephanie Kelton, Abdul El-Sayed, and the list goes on. That is a very progressive task force. I talked to Bernie Sanders about it today. We're going to air that interview tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on tyt.com/live. 5:30. Yeah, that's right, Eastern. 5:30 p.m. He said that's when the show starts now with interviews. Okay. And I asked him about it. Now, watch the interview. He'll answer for himself. But the main takeaway that I get as a progressive and having talked to people like Bernie Sanders is, look, you do a task force, and if you don't follow their recommendations, there is significant blowback that comes along with that. And so Biden took that risk to go left. If it's a giant if he picks Elizabeth Warren, take the victory. It's the second most progressive senator in the country. So what do you want him to do? Pick Klobuchar? That we don't want that. We want him to we want to encourage him to take Warren. Now, look, there's so many other things I can say, but I got to say this one other thing. Now, would I change my stance on Medicare for all? Absolutely not. Right. On the other hand, if you said to me, okay, will you take a deal now that now you lost the primary, the other guys won the primary. Now they're offering you an olive branch, and they're willing to go whatever percentage of the way there. If you believe it's real and it's not a trick, are you willing to go further, have them go further left to meet you? My answer is yes. I'll take yes for an answer. So I don't know why we're pushing Biden away when he's trying to come in this direction. So look, we have a poll, and Anna, I'm curious what you think, but I'm curious what the whole country thinks, and certainly progressives that are our audience. So it's at tyt.com/polls/VEEP, VEEP. So now some of you guys are going to be upset at the choices: Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Gretchen Whitmer. And you're going to say, wait a minute, I don't like those choices. I want Nina Turner on that list. I want Bernie Sanders. I want Santa Claus. But none of those people are going to be on the list. They're not on Biden's list. This is the real list. And maybe Klobuchar, but that's about your top 5. And because he's vetting Klobuchar doesn't mean he's not vetting the rest. So out of those real choices, who do you want? So be realistic. tyt.com/polls/VEEP. For me, it's a no-brainer. Why would I take anyone but Warren?
So I want to make it clear that I'm not having a discussion about who I personally prefer as his VP pick. I'm having a discussion about the effectiveness of what Elizabeth Warren is doing. I don't think that Biden is going to choose her as a VP pick. I think that Biden has been friendly toward her because she wants to be the VP and has been raising money for him and has been doing everything possible to be appealing to him. And for me, that's the issue, right? Because if progressives are going to win, if there are going to be real policy accomplishments, we need to know our enemies, we need to know our friends, and we need to be principled, right? That doesn't mean that we never work with people we disagree with, but I don't, the fact that she got involved in politics because she was so disgusted with Joe Biden's bankruptcy bill, and now she's like bending to Biden's will on healthcare right now, is
That's
just
because he won.
It's devastating. It's devastating.
He won. You and he's saying, "Hey, I'm thinking of coming in your direction." The correct answer is yes. Look, I'll just last thing.
You believe him, Cenk? You believe him?
No,
and I'm sorry. I
no.
think the task force will accomplish nothing. That's where I'm coming from.
No, I want to be super clear about this. I don't believe him. I believe that the proof is in the pudding, and we're going to find out soon. So if he goes towards Warren, then I will give him a lot of credit because it meant he wasn't kidding. Warren could be the next president of the United States. She's the second most progressive senator in the country. Take the victory, right? Or if he goes, oh no, I was just playing with you guys, and I was faking it so I could get more votes because you thought I considered Warren, and instead I'll pick Klobuchar or Whitmer or Kamala Harris, then I'll say, okay, then it turns out it was all total baloney. He wanted someone, it was, you know what it was? Malarkey. He just wanted someone who is just as establishment and just as conservative as him. Our answer will come soon. We should encourage him to go in the progressive direction instead of saying, you know what, we don't care. You're not going to get credit under any circumstance. That is very bad politics, which leads to bad policy.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.